Okay, in this hour we speak about the Pebble. This one, I will do a little bit of introduction. So, what is the Pebble? Well, it's a smartwatch. Is available on this website. Is a project founded on Kickstarter, so crowdfunding, 2 years ago, more or less. Has been designed and developed, and this is important for us, as an extension of a smartphone. With smartphone in mind, not with computer, not with Raspberry. It's thought to be operate with iOS or Android only. And use Bluetooth for communicating between the watch and the smartphone or the tablet. It has an open platform for developer in form of an SDK that is freely downloadable from the internet and from an app store for selling application from the Pebble. Well, some specification, it has a display 1.26 inches, LED black light, Bluetooth 4.0, haptic feedback, accelerometer, 3-axis, quite good battery, 5-7 day, it's water resistant, and it's localized in English only. So, for developer, for developing application on the Pebble, an SDK is freely available. It can be downloaded from this site, developer.pebble.com. It's free, but registration is required, and currently we have a version 2.0.2, and the SDK is for Linux and Mac OS X only, no Windows. Pebble apps can be written in C, apps that can be installed on the watch. There are libraries for Android and iOS, and optionally also for interacting with websites and web services through the internet connection of the smartphone. And on this website you can find quite good documentation. So, with in mind the fact that the Pebble is born, is developed, is designed for smartphone, what about us? What about Python? What about computers? What about Raspberry Pi? Well, the Pebble SDK comes with a tool that is named Pebble that lets a computer interact also directly with the watch, and this tool is written in Python. And sources of this tool are in the SDK. So by exploiting this tool, it's possible for us to speak directly with the watch without the need to use a smartphone or a tablet. These work for sure with Ubuntu and Debian derivatives, and we have not tested, but also with Mac OS X, Mac OS X, Mac OS X it should work. In general, with Pebble, in any configuration, only one device at a time can be connected to the Pebble. If you have 2 tablets or a smartphone and tablets, and you connect the Pebble at both 2, one of the 2 doesn't work. You can connect the Pebble to the smartphone, and then you have to unpair the Pebble from the smartphone and connect to the tablets, and vice versa. The same for computer. You can connect the Pebble to tablets to configure the watch, and then you have it unpair from the tablets and connect to the computer. So, what are the steps to have the SDK and everything you need to develop a Python application that speaks with the Pebble? You have to, well, download the SDK, install the SDK according to this guide. One is for Linux and this one is for Mac OS X. Then you have, in this SDK, there is a folder named Pebble. Inside this Pebble SDK 2.0.2 tools, and you have to add this folder to the Python path in any way you want. For example, by creating a symbolic link named, for example, Pebble libs in user lib Python 2.7, that is the default folder for Python path, or by configuring the Python path in Eclipse, or whatever. Any way to put a folder in a Python path is okay, it works. Then you have to install some additional component using the pip tool. All these with this specific version. So if you write in command line pip install twist equal 12.0.0, it installs exactly the version 12.0.0 of twist, even if there is a version that is greater than 12. The same for PySerial. PySerial is needed, but you can install a version that is greater than or equal to 2.6. So at least 2.6, and so on. Then, we need Bluetooth to speak with the Pebble. So a computer should have a Bluetooth dongle or Bluetooth already available in the hardware. So, two ways of using Bluetooth. One is fast and the other is slow. The slow version is this one. Map the Bluetooth connection to a serial port, something in the dev folder, in /dev folder on the Unix system. And the other, that is the fast way, is using this light blue library that had some requirements for Ubuntu and Debian operating system. You have to install these two libraries, libopen-opex1 and Python Blues via package manager. And for Mac OS X, you have to install this pyobjc for via pip install. And then you have to install Lightblue 0.4, exactly 0.4, using pip install in this way. In this way, it downloads the library and it uses the Python component that are needed. So, 3 examples. First, we would like to, via Bluetooth, using this computer, using the Pebble command line that is already available in this SDK, perform 2 operations. One, ping the Pebble watch. We will see a notification, a message named ping, exactly. That is a way to check if the connectivity between a computer or a smartphone and the watch work. There is the connectivity. And then take a screenshot of the display of the Pebble, using only the Pebble command line. So the Pebble tool let developer to perform various activities. All of them are reported here in this website. And these are the 2 instructions we needed. The first is Pebble ping, and then we need to write the ID of our Pebble in form of MAC address that is reported on the Pebble, on your computer, and on your computer. And the other is Pebble screenshot that take a screenshot of what is present on the Pebble. So, let's try. So, Pebble is the command line tool. We want to send a ping to this watch. This watch has an ID 00 17 9 60 3104. Okay, so this is one of the watch faces, the time. It's 5:59 right now. And we would like to send a ping to this watch. Okay. So this is a ping. there is ping received and the host name of my computer, that is Pasadena. Then I mark this notification as read, and now we would like to take a screenshot. This is the main menu of the Pebble. Okay. And we would like to take a screenshot of this. So again, Pebble screenshot. Okay. And this is the notification, the screenshot of what is present right now on the phone. This application is written in Python, so all the things that this application can do, it's possible to do also via source code, via code, by coding. So. Let's try to do something similar in Python. We would like to ping the watch, well, open a connection with the watch, ping the watch, and send a custom notification to the watch, textual notification, in Python. Okay, so project. Okay, so we create a simple script with a main. So the first thing to do is import the library. So import Pebble libs, that is the folder that we added to the Python path, .pebble, since we need only the Pebble module, and we rename it for practice. Okay. Then we need to build an object that represents our Pebble, that let us to open a connection with the Pebble via Bluetooth. So we create a Pebble object, libpebble.pebble. Then we set the ID as before. That is always 00, 17, 9, etc. Then we need to set another variable that is used by light blue, this one. Then we need to connect to the Pebble via light blue. Okay. In this way, we tell the Pebble, this application to connect to this Pebble with this ID via light blue and stop. We don't perform any operation right now. Then we would like to send a message and send a ping to the watch. So we can prepare the message. Okay. Pebble dot Pebble by default has two types of notification, an email notification and SMS notification. That was born to notify from a smartphone if a new email has arrived or a new SMS has arrived. We can use one of them. It's not important right now. We can use the SMS. It has a sender and a body of the message. So the sender could be, for example, my name, and the body could be whatever you like hello, for example. Then we can wait for a moment before sending the ping, so we can clearly see the notification, and then we can ping the Pebble. Finally, we need to disconnect to close the connection. Otherwise, any other program, any other device can connect to this Pebble. So, we can try to run it. So, we see the notification and the ping. Wait. We see the notification that is arrived here, and it also arrived the ping in the same identical way as before. And then it doesn't stop. So, to briefly recap, to interact via Python with a Pebble, you have to create a Pebble object, set its ID as MAC address that is reported in the Bluetooth setting, for example, and this is the address. Then connect via light blue or via serial, in this case via light blue, that is the faster way. And then on the Pebble object, you can perform some operation, like send some message in an SMS form that required a sender and a message body, in the email form that requires a sender, a subject, and a body of the message, and then, for example, perform a ping. And finally, disconnect, close the connection. Okay. Let's do something a little bit complex. A few weeks ago, you developed a music server that replied to REST commands, and you don't have a client. So we would like to use the Pebble, the music app of the Pebble, to play or stop music from a given playlist in the same format of the music server you already have, and execute the next track in the playlist as provided by the music server. So, this one, we can see this one. The main script is almost identical as before. You need to create a Pebble object, set a Pebble ID, set a variable and for light blue, and connect via light blue. Then, since we need to use the music application that is already installed here, and by using the buttons, let to stop, play, go back, and go forward on music, on a music playlist, we need to register an endpoint. The music application register an endpoint named music control and accept that any program can handle what happens in this application. So when you press a button, the Pebble look for application registered as endpoint, and for each send the action related to that button in that application. So in our case, our program will receive a play action, a next action, a previous action, all the action that the music control application register for external application, for external service. Then periodically, we update the metadata of our song, of the song we listen. So this endpoint, this is the important part. I said register for this music control. That is an endpoint that is provided by the Pebble application. So if you need to create a new endpoint, you have to create a new application on the Pebble that registers its own endpoint and associate that endpoint with a function that in this case is called the music handler. The music handler is this function here. An handler function takes two arguments. One is endpoint, and the other is the response coming from the watch. In our case, it's able to intercept two types of response that are defined by the application, the Pebble. One is play pause, that corresponds to the button in the middle. The other is next. And the other response that here is not present is previous, because the music server in REST doesn't have the previous track functionality. The version you have on GitHub. The next response has associated a partial URI. That is the part of URI after the address of the server to perform the next song. The play pause response doesn't have the complete URI because we need to distinguish between the play of a new song or stop of the current playlist. We will perform this choice after. Then if the response that comes from the music handler is present in this control event, so my application is able to what I said here is that my application is able to handle only play, pause, and next. Other messages are out of scope here. And for only these two messages, I call the control music method, and I send the response, next and play, pause, and the equivalent portion of the URL. The control music method is defined here, and handle what happens with the play pause operation and for the next. For the next, it skips all these parts essentially and send a put on localhost 2.8080 / URL that is, in the case of the next API, version 1 player next, with an empty data that is here, and set the content type as JSON, because the put of a next required an empty JSON content type. In the case of play pause, it has to determine if a song is already playing or if no song are currently playing. So it gets from the music server, you see last 2 times ago or 3 times ago, the status, playing or not playing, by sending a get on this address, and if this status is playing, it appends to the URL stop, because a song is playing and we need to stop it. Otherwise, it starts playing a current playlist. In this case, it's also read this file, that is playlist.json, that represents the playlist as you see 3 times ago in the music server lesson, and read all the data and pass it to this other function that performs the put on the correct address with the correct data with the correct current type. Immediately after this, it also updates the metadata of the song to be shown on the watch. This update metadata that is called each 5 seconds and each time a play, pause, or next operation has been performed, set essentially all the data that can be shown on the watch, that is artist, title, and album. It defines some default value, no artist, no album, and as a title, no music found, and get from the music server the correct artist, title, and album of the song that is being played, by converting them to string. Then, with this value, artist, title, album, set all the metadata on the Pebble. So Pebble.setNoPlaying metadata, title, album, and artist. The playlist is a JSON that defines 4 tracks by ID. And this REST module is the same you have seen last week with Dario. So we can try it. We need to start the music server and the music control application. So I open the music control application that prints no music found, and we can try if it starts playing the first song of the playlist, that is 0, and that is this one. It's a song of Springsteen, Frankie Fell in Love, and then we can change song. Next song, again, up to the end of the playlist, and stop it also. So in this way, we get these 3 buttons, the code associated to this button in this application that are next, previous, and stop and play, and according to what our program in Python receive, perform different operation. This is done by default with the Android application of Pebble and the iOS application of Pebble that is required to make this watch running. Okay. So all of these, the simple program and this a little bit more complex program are available on this repository on GitHub, linked here, linked on the website, and also the slides are on the website. Quite fast. Really fast. So, do you have any questions right now? Okay. So let me check one thing. Okay. We stop here. And, well, have a good Easter vacation. And we see you on almost May.